think you ought to know. That Men's Radio. The place where men and women really speak. Oh man, what a show. It's Men's Radio. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, it won't cost you no dough. Men's Radio, that's the place for you. With Russ, Kane, and Phil Dave.
All right, out of Unit 1 into Unit 2. How about a little bit of Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and you know who, all right?
Well, how about Queen? That's right. Barry J. Allen says, good afternoon, one and all.
It's a fantastic film to watch, that Flash. It's so ridiculously camp and over the top and just bonkers, but it looks spectacular. It still looks so great.
As does my bathroom as well.
Now, I'm moving on from that fabulous joke. Paul Andrews, Phil's packed a bag, or maybe his lunch. No, I've had the pleasure of watching him eat his lunch, hot poached salmon. And behind him is a bag we don't. Gordon's alive!
I'm going to call the British Transport Police.
Don't, you heard that. Ed Grossman, howdy, folks. Oh, Ed, glad I've got you. Important point, young Philip. Welcome, everybody, to Men's Radio. You can hear us on the Men's Radio Station website, obviously, on the Twitter, on Facebook, and, of course, on our YouTube channel, which is just Men's Radio Station YouTube channel. Also going out on Deluxe Radio and Radio Waves. Now, sunny Spain. I'm beginning to hate you, Michael Verby. Good afternoon from sunny Spain. Good afternoon to you, Michael. Hello to your sister, Stacey, who I haven't seen since she was 5. She riding a bike? Yeah, going to school? What's going on? Unattended. This is an announcement. Unattended baggage in the fill packing area. There is an unattended bag in the fill packing area. We all need to know what's in it now. What's in it? Phil's just died. I don't know what. He's so tired. He's just absolutely died. Are you going to speak to me or not? He's not speaking.
Oh, he's put up the wrong microphone. That's why you couldn't hear me. Sorry.
Oh, right. Blame the producer. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's you. Now, listen. Hey, gang.
Huge. As far as the bag is concerned, I fear that it's not my place to open said bag because it's not mine.
But it's in your area of expertise. It's within your fabulous area, your purview. It's in your bailiwick. Anyway.
Well, anyone for hummus?
What are you at Wimbledon now? New spoons, please. Am I going to watch you now eating hummus? I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm not eating that. I'm going to one day just have a huge steak and kidney pie and sit here noshing. Now, big show today. Amazing guests. We've got the Overtones coming up. And it's not, we don't do music, so please, if you're on PR and you want to push your latest record, please don't contact us. I won't do it. We're not a music radio station. I get inundated with this, but if it's not relevant to mental health and well-being, sorry, it's go to Radio 1 or something. But not being rude, but it's not for us. Thank you. And the other one, saluting public service heroes. This guy's story is amazing. And I just wanted to cram them all in, much to Phil's annoyance. But there we are. We've got everybody in today.
I get a bit annoyed at the Overtones.
No, but they were meant to be on Friday. And then, hey, how rock and roll is this, Phil? They couldn't get proper babysitting. I'm not making it up. They couldn't get babysitters, so they couldn't do the show. Oh, yeah, it's Keith Richards all over again. A very nice boys. I've worked with them once. They won't remember when I was stupid enough to be in music management. Now, Ed Grossman. Ed Grossman, I had a call this morning from one of my best pals who we all love and who did the signature tune for us, Mr. Ray Gelato, who just finished 3 terrific days at Ronnie Scott's in Soho. And Ray is climbing the walls. He needs to speak to you, Ed. He needs some advice, please. You might be able to push him in the right direction. Hello, we go dashing, Phil, to Edinburgh. very fine Veronica Curran. There she is. Hey, Ed, I want to ask a question. I just asked you. Yeah, you need to get hold of Ray Gelato. Listen to this, Phil.
I'm all ears. Well,
No. Fine, left ear, front, right ear, and final front ear. Mr. Spock. I had Ray first thing on the phone this morning. Steam coming out of his ears, and I really understand why.
Which doesn't mix very well with gelato, I can tell you.
No, because the whole thing was running. It was running everywhere. Here's the thing.
All this year I'm on sunny Spain. Hey, viva España.
I know my sense of timing, right? Chrissy Holt says, hi, boys. Hot, sunny. Lunch today, sardine and anchovy salad.
Oh, that sounds good. Oh, Chrissy, that sounds good. You know what I'm trying to do this week? I'm going to get back to Rachel. Let me get back to Rachel Arthur, then I'm going to tell you what I'm doing this week. I'm finding it really tough. Rachel Arthur, as you know, is a musician and makes his living from touring with Ray Gelato and the Giants. If you've never seen them, please go. They're absolutely brilliant. Now, they've decided, because of COVID and all this other nonsense, that you need visas. Guess what the last quote he got for just the visa per member of the band? Remember, there's 7 in Ray Gelato and the Giants. Guess how much, Phil? I'll tell you, because you know it would be just a random thing. 400 quid.
Oh.
So before you've bought a cup of coffee on your tour, Ray is expected to be paying £400 per member of the band, right? That's, what is it? That's 2,800 quid, right? 7 4 28. 2,800 quid before he's even bought the flights, the accommodation, the food. It's outrageous. This is a con. This is a con. And the problem with it is, and why I'm mentioning it is not just because Ray's my pal, but so many people in the music industry are going, what are we going to do? So many people in the entertainment industry, what are we going to do? Hospitality, they're dying out there. It's not fair. And it's causing them such stress, which is my point. Such shocking stress. It's completely unfair. And Phil, you wouldn't know, but Ray was explaining that different countries have different rules. So some of the European countries, you need the visa. Others, you don't need the visa. It's absolute crap. And it's gonna hit so many wonderful artists who tour and give pleasure to so many thousands of people. It's going to hit them very, very hard. It's tough. So that is why I'm hearing another sound. Have you got another button pressed or something? Because I'm hearing something weird.
No.
I'm hearing echo. I've got echo.
You're all hearing you fine.
Oh, that's weird. I got an echo. Right. What I'm trying to do this week, I've done it so far, is not drink. Not drink. I don't mean not water. Not drink alcohol. It gets to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and you think, just want that glass of wine. I just want that shot of single malt. I just want, martini. Nah. So I'm being good. I'm going to try and wait until the weekend. If I can get through that, it'll be something.
Well, that's the spirit.
Oh, you idiot. You idiot.
That's the spirit. Yes,
no, we got it. We've got a very, very clever audience. You'll sleep better after a week, though, Paul Andrew. Will I? Will I, though? Good on you. Thank you, Paul. I'm only doing it. One, because I know they're completely empty calories, but they're delicious, but they're empty calories. And 2, just for the sheer hell to see if I can actually do it. If I can do it. Because it's good for up here. If I can be disciplined enough to not drink Monday through Friday at all, wait until maybe Saturday, I will feel I've had an achievement. Does that make any sense, Phil? Do you think?
It does. But do you really feel that you're that dependent?
I'm not. No. Let's not get. No, I'm not dependent.
No, I'm serious,
I enjoy it.
Why would it be that much of a challenge? Do you see what I mean?
Oh, because I crave it. I've got so used to 6, 7 o'clock, pouring myself out a glass of something, and it's something to look forward to. When you're sitting on your own, just writing and answering emails and running radio stations. It's nice to be kind of boosted. But Paul's making an interesting point. You will suddenly wake up going, wow, that was a proper sleep. Paul, it's interesting. I hadn't joined the dots here. Got to be honest, I am actually sleeping better and waking up feeling better. Isn't that interesting? Trust me, it's a subject I know well. Okay. I won't press on that. I do feel I'm getting a better quality of sleep. See if I can do it. If I can do it, I will feel more. At least I feel I've got some willpower, which should be a good thing.
It is true, you do sleep. One does sleep better without it. I have no idea why. But I'll be honest, I enjoy the daily tipple, and I don't really fancy the idea of giving it up.
No,
I don't know. The reason why I know I can do is because if it was, say, for religious reasons, that people may not be familiar with the week that's known as Passover in Judaism, and that is where you have a very different diet, a very strict diet, as according to the Israelites as they fled Egypt all those years ago. That's the kind
Israelites.
Quite. That tells us the kind of thing. Anyway, I do give up quite willingly then. It just happens. So I know that it is perfectly possible.
Paul Andrews, don't worry about pressing. I make no secret of it, but the sleep thing came as a shock. I thought the opposite would be. So would I. I thought, but I am. It's interesting. Stephen Marsh. Oh, Stephen. Also, I've put Ray Gelato in contact with you. So please expect a message or a call. So not only Ed Grossman, but Stephen Marsh as well, accountant to the stars. I went. Do you want to read this, Phil? Just read it.
Which one are you reading? Because there's loads.
Stephen Marsh, the last one.
Stephen Marsh.
Benson's.
I went to the Benson's for beds. The assistant said, "Sir, do you want to buy this bed?" I said, "I'm not too sure. Can I sleep on it?" Thank you, Stephen.
Comedy lost a giant when Stephen went into accountancy. That's what...
I wonder whether or not he's the person who writes those cracker jokes, because they're never credited.
I bet Stephen has done cracker jokes since 1965 when he was a kid. I actually love those cracker jokes. They're so terrible. They're marvelous. It's like a really bad film.
Nerves, though. I don't like laughing out of nerves.
Do you think so? No. One thing I won't do is I won't wear a paper hat. Just can't do it. I just feel like such a twerp. What's this? Jacobs employed me, as did Ritz.
Oh, he's talking.
How bored is Stephen Marsh? Paul Andrews went to buy some nails. They said, "How long do you want them?" I said, "I want to keep them, you fool."
I used to file my nails, and then I thought, what's the point of keeping them?
Do that again. You used to what?
I used to file my nails, and then I thought, what's the point of keeping them? Ridiculous, I know. Although I can't take credit for that. That's a Tim Vine joke, to be even so.
Tim Vine. I bought a rubber front door. You can't lock it. I love Tim Vine.
It's the one-liners, you see. This is what I find very amusing. This is why there's a Canadian comedian. Good gracious me, that's quite hard to say. There's a Canadian comedian called Stuart Francis.
Oh, he's the same. I prefer Tim Vine, but Stuart Francis is excellent.
Absolutely hilarious.
And the other one, who is a good friend of John Ryan, whose show was on Monday, is Gary. Oh, can't remember bloody surname.
Gary. Oh Christ, never heard of him.
Gary, yeah. Veronica Curran. Due to medication, I had to give up alcohol. Now on CBD since December 2020. I've still not gone back.
Remind me what Newcastle she's from.
She's from Poland. Veronica, in Edinburgh, is it not against the law not to be drinking?
Wow.
I was up there for the Edinburgh Fringe. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Veronica, who's an avid fan of the show on Thursday evenings at 6 with Ollie Mammon, called the ABC of CBD. and so many people said, we've given it a go, and it's really, really helping us. Chrissy Holt is the same. So that's great. Martin Allen says, sorry I'm late. Have I missed much? And Ed Grossman immediately steams in. No.
Nice. Okay.
Your friend.
What? So you haven't missed much, because actually, waiting in the digital green room now are our first two guests. They are here to celebrate public service heroes, and I couldn't think of a more apt thing to do. Absolutely. So we can welcome.
This is so great.
We can welcome Zane Powles. And we can also welcome Darren Milson, who Darren doesn't appear to be joining us on camera. So can you both hear us, gentlemen?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, great! Thank you. Darren, are you lurking about in the shadows? There he is.
There he is.
Marvelous.
Hello, Darren.
Hello, Darren. Hello, Zane.
Right,
Zane, when I read your story when it was sent to me, I thought that is just sensational, and I was thrilled to have you on Men's Radio with me and Phil. Talk us through it, please. I'd rather in your words than mine.
Yeah, so it seems so long ago now, but not only yesterday, or feels like today, we were locked down for the first time, and I work in a school, assistant head at a school in our local areas. Tough, challenging. I mean, the government would class it as socially and economically deprived.
Where is it, Zane? Where is it?
In Grimsby.
In Grimsby, okay.
In Grimsby. And a lot of our children have preschool meals. And my first concern when Mr. Johnson decided to close schools on the Friday, we told us on the Wednesday, was how are our kids going to get the preschool meals? Our parents live hand to mouth, live in a breadline permanently. So I just thought I could deliver them. So I got a local map out of the local area, plotted where all of them lived, and we had at the time about 110 children. Right. 20 odd of them I couldn't deliver to because they lived too far away, they lived in local different towns. But 85 of them, I thought, yeah, I could do this. So I decided to do exactly that. That was on a Wednesday. On the Thursday, the plan was in place. On the Monday, the first day the kids weren't allowed back at school, I started taking preschool meals around to the children, to the houses.
Hang on, Zane, you thought of this on the Wednesday, and by the Monday you're already doing it. That is incredible. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Yeah. I spent at that part of my brain works really well planning. At a moment's notice, I spent nearly 10 years in the army, so that doing things, you're on it straight away, and it's got done this, and I can do that, and it was just me doing it sort of. Although the head endeavoured to deliver another 20 by car, but I wouldn't have been able to do what I was doing unless all the people behind were doing, like look after the kids that were in school and all the bits and bobs they were doing. So on the Monday, 85 pack lunches in a rucksack on the back, rucksack on the front, a bag on the side, and I just.
This is on a bicycle, isn't it, Zane? This is on a bicycle. You're not driving it, are you? Oh, you walked.
Yeah, it was too heavy. I was carrying around 50 kilo a day, so it was too heavy for the bike. And by walking, the good thing about walking is, and a lot of people ask why did I walk? It's because I delivered to the preschool meals to some of our children, most of our children, but in between there were families that weren't entitled to preschool meals. By walking, I was able to pass their houses and support them at the same time. So I was able to support all of our families, even though the preschool meals. And the good thing about the whole thing was I was able to see our families every single day to make sure, firstly, they got a decent meal. Like I say, some of our families struggle. We have some children who are really vulnerable, check on them, make sure the families were okay, help with learning. It sort of grew, but it was good because I could see the children physically every day. It was very easy to ring them up and say, is everything okay? Because it's too easy to say on the phone, oh yeah, everything's fine. It's much more difficult when someone's there right in front of you and they can see and feel that maybe things aren't as good as what you're saying.
Right.
Now, do you know,
so I think
what staggers me, Zane, is that the fact that you managed to organise this as a sort of I don't know if you did have help or not, but let's say for argument's sake, a one-man band, you managed to organise this within a matter of days. And yet the authorities, how can I put it, weren't quite as quick, shall we say?
Yeah, I can't comment on the politics part of the thing.
I know,
but even when the vouchers came in, the vouchers
spot. But what I will say is that let's bring Darren Milton in at this stage, because Darren's also very patiently waiting there as well on screen. And Darren, you're from Boundless, aren't you? Can you just tell us a little bit about Boundless, first of all? Oh, Darren, we can't hear you, I'm afraid. So I think what you need to do is you need to have a look and see what your
There we go. This sounds like it might be working.
Go for it now, Darren. Can you? Oh no, I can see there's no microphone connected. I tell you what, We'll see whether or not
Your mic's muted. Darren, for some reason, your mic is muted. That should... No, still muted.
Are we
No,
back?
it's unmuted. Yeah, we can hear you now.
we can hear you now. Terrific. Okay, so let's try that again. Sorry, tell us a little bit about Boundless.
Yeah, so Boundless is actually a not-for-profit club for public sector and civil service workers. And we're here really to help people get the most of their spare time, their free time, and to help them get the right work-life balance.
Is Zane one of your most outstanding members of this extraordinary organisation?
So Zane's fantastic. So yeah, we came across Zane when we were interviewing, trying to find public sector workers that have gone above and beyond. And what a wonderful case study that is. I mean, delivering 15,000 meals to vulnerable people. I think it's one of the reasons that we think Public Service Day is such a lovely thing to get behind, which is today. Just to celebrate and shine a light on all the fantastic work that the public sector workers do to keep the country running behind the scenes often.
We don't get to hear about it, do we? This is the problem. We don't always get to hear. It's very easy to be critical, and then you see a story like Zane Powell's, and you think, and there must be other people, probably not as good, but there must be other people doing extraordinary things that we don't get to hear about on a local level, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the case with public sector workers in general. I mean, we tend to think of the kind of uniformed workers, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, especially given the last year. All the local administrators helping to roll out the vaccine programme. There's a local authorities with tens of thousands of business grants, and the refuse collectors keeping our streets tidy when we're working from home. We've got more rubbish than we've ever had.
Yes, true. Absolutely true. And I've noticed that.
I can't help but observe you have an MBE after your name. But just pray do tell. This is obviously sort of come at a very either appropriate time or you're worthy of it for many years.
It came through the pandemic, so the work that we did in the pandemic. Yeah, it was pretty awesome, to say the least. I mean, before I became a teacher, I used to be a grenadier guard, so I guarded the palaces many times. So it's going to be weird to go back. Hopefully this year to receive the award would be. Yeah, it's just.
Do you think Her Majesty would say, "Zane, good to see you again"? Yeah, she might say that.
Either that, or just say, "I didn't recognise you without your hat on."
Maybe possibly. Yeah.
Without your Busby. Zane, there's a question from Stephen Master, which I think echoes a lot of people. Were you making these talk us through the process, because it's so extraordinary. Remember, you walked 550 miles.
Oh, it's
like
more
the Proclaimers,
at the end,
isn't it?
Over the whole year, because I did it just for a year, I'd walked 900 miles and delivered 15,000 meals. So it was a task and a half. And then in the summer holidays, I did a charity bike. But the meal thing, it changed over the time. But basically, after the first 2 weeks, the first 3 weeks, the vouchers came in, and then the company we deal with decided that actually they weren't going to make the meals anymore. They were just going to bring all the products on the Monday. And so every single day, myself, the head or deputy, kitchen staff, and a couple of TAs would come in at 7 a.m, make all the buns, butter the buns, fill them, make all the pack-ups, and then go out and deliver them. So that would happen.
How long did that take?
But I'd leave the school about 9:15, and I'd get back in after my walk, after my round, about 1:30, depending on how much the parents talk to me. So it was really hard work, a lot of time, but well worth every mile and meal delivered. It was definitely worth it.
Now, Darren, what blows my mind, of course, is that it's hard to believe that the number of people that have benefited from the work that Zane and people who helped him have done, and what might have otherwise happened to them over the course of this last year had they not have done what they did. That's what blows my mind. There's some who literally would have just gone hungry.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at some research around public sector workers, and over 72% of them had volunteered to do work outside of their normal day job. And that's incredible. And it just shows, I guess, fundamentally their roles are about helping others. It's about giving back to society, and lots of them are really proud about that. So maybe it's no surprise that the natural kind of next step and extension of that is volunteering work.
But isn't it nice to think that where we've seen the best and the worst of humanity, and let's be honest, I'm afraid the worst does seem to rise to the surface. Isn't it nice to think actually there are people like your organisation, people like Zane, who are going out there and making a difference for the better, and not just acting in what appears to be, to many, a very selfish way, and only worrying about themselves throughout the course of this whole saga that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, sometimes it takes really difficult situations to bring out the best in people. And I think we've seen that with the pandemic. We've seen people like Zane and lots of others just going above and beyond to really do all they can, because they care about society, the community, and they want to give something back.
Zane, let me ask you this. Were the people, this may sound a very strange question, were they grateful to you?
Yes, very, very grateful. I mean, at the beginning, the children loved being off school, but as the time progressed, certainly during the third lockdown where they was having to do work, yeah, very grateful. They loved coming around. The parents, some of our parents, and maybe single parent families, and I was possibly the only adult they saw, that come around the house. So it was a massive relief for them, supporting them with their mental health, relationship difficulties. They'd come out and clap. It was very well received, not just the children and families who received the free school meals, but also the whole community, the whole town. I'd walked between the states and people would bid me and wave at me and say, well done. It was, very well received. And our parents are, definitely grateful for all the work that our school put in.
Down in London, which is a long way from Grimsby, people are so ungrateful about everything. So it's just nice that you could see that gratitude. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
While I've got you, Zane, the children are presumably, have you noticed a change in the children when they're back at school for their mental health?
When they first came back, possibly, but I think children are resilient and really flexible, actually. So when they first come out and all the new systems were in place, and it was quite confusing about which way to go to lunch, they've only got to have lunch in their bubble and play in their bubble and come at different times. After a couple of weeks, children it's now the norm. It's no different. So I think with regard to that area, they adapt and get over it. The learning, I think, is going to take a while to close that gap, because some of our parents don't put an onus on education, therefore there's less support at home, therefore that gap that's widened is going to close more slowly, and things like the online learning in the third lockdown. They didn't have computers, half of them didn't have Wi-Fi. So getting laptops out to them and making sure they had Wi-Fi was tough, but it took time, and that time has impact on children's learning, obviously. However, our children and families are awesome and really proud and always do the best for the kids, but sometimes it might not be your best or my best, but it is their best. And that's all we can ask for, really.
Makes perfect sense. Darren, are there other examples? I mean, Zane is extraordinary. And I think Phil and I are a bit speechless, to be honest with you. Some wonderful comments coming in. Darren, are there other examples that you know of people who've said, we've got to do something about this and gone that extra mile?
Yeah, so people are doing all sorts, and sometimes it's just donating unwanted items, fundraising or sponsored walks, but also along the lines of, like Zane, delivering to vulnerable people, and the distribution of PPE. One local councillor set up organising winter clothing for low-income families. So again, lots of this lovely kind of giving back, doing good stuff, which is heartwarming.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, Zane, I don't know what to say. Well, I'm virtually speechless. I think what you've done is extraordinary.
Absolutely. Bravo is a very good start.
I'm part of a very good team.
Well, a team needs leadership, and obviously you've been inspirational. Wow. So many lovely messages, but everyone really just wants to say thank you very much. And Phil and I say salute you. It's brilliant. What a brilliant story. Darren, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. And if you have other stories, Darren, you know where we are now. We would love to hear them, and we'd love to support you.
And obviously, if people want more information about Boundless, where do they need to go to?
Yeah, they go to boundless.co.uk/public service day, or get involved in our social campaign, #public service day.
Marvellous.
#public service day. Fantastic. Darren, guys, thank you very, very much.
Charles, MBE, thank you both very much indeed for us on Men's Radio.
Thank you
very much.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
There we go.
Do you feel humbled? I feel absolutely humbled and
Can I
useless.
be honest? I feel pointless. I know that sounds really silly.
No. I'm sitting here thinking, what the bloody hell have I done? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Jesus. It's so... When I read all this, I thought, we've got to try and get him on. I know we normally don't have guests Monday and Wednesday, but I thought, no, that is so special. Come on. That is so special. I mean, you feel pointless. I feel utterly humbled, and I'm just looking at myself thinking, you know... That's why I asked if they were grateful, because London, you can volunteer for so many things. I know people are listening and watching all over the world, but in London, I don't know. They've just lost the idea of gratitude.
Yeah, quite. Gratitude, what's that?
They're just so, it's expected, you know. I mean, I think the London attitude, this is my lunch. Well, this is it. I mean, that's, yeah, I think that's true.
Funny roll.
That's very good.
So you need to ask 100 people before they can be pointless. I
like that show. I like that show. It's a clever idea.
That's what you call a cultural reference. Very good.
Glassy Amanda says, what you both do is alert people to what people are doing. Well, Glassy, that's thank you for that. Glassy Amanda, thank you for your work from a very busy sixth form counsellor. I didn't realize you did that as well. Blimey. And Veronica Karen says, one off the minute. What? No, Veronica, there's only one F in of. One off the very many real people who lifted spirits through a frightened time. Many thanks, Zine. If she ever meets me, she's just going to punch me, isn't she? She's going to punch me.
Speaking of a frightening time, I mean, your impression of someone
it's diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical.
Anyhow, let us move on, because very
exhausted straight away.
Waiting in the digital green room now, and both looking mildly horrified at what lies ahead of them.
They're in showbiz. They're used to it.
Well, is two members of, I reckon, arguably one of the finest vocal groups in this country, and I'm genuinely not.
I'm a big fan. I'll be honest with you. I'm an absolute big fan.
I've even had the pleasure of sort of meeting the band a couple of times sort of in person when they've haunted sort of, should we say, other places I used to work, but they are all genuinely charming.
How were they doing in Nando's in the kitchen?
Oh, you're hilarious. Anyway, I'm talking about the overtones. We have two overtones with us right now, Mike Crawshaw and Darren Everett. Very good afternoon to you both, gentlemen.
Hello.
Did someone say Nando's?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Thank God you both got the memo about wearing baseball caps. I was worried it hasn't arrived. That was
well. Listen, I've got an excuse. I'm doing some work on the building site, which is my new house, but I'm not sure why Mike isn't in a three-piece suit.
You know, my excuse is I'm a particularly busy dad at the moment, so this was
perfectly
honest, as smart as you're going to get at the moment, I'm afraid.
Freaked out not to see you two in suits, actually, because that's normally
the most immaculate band on the road, and that's including Kiss. Now, oddly enough, we've met. You really wouldn't know. It was a long time ago, and when I was stupid enough to be in music management and had one of my acts. I don't know if we were touring with you or appearing at a gig or what, and you would. You won't remember any of this.
I love the black marks on their faces.
No, absolutely. But I can't even remember where the hell it was, to be honest with you. But you guys were so charming. You were absolutely charming. And then when I watched your set, and I'm not blowing smoke up your posteriors, when I watched your set, I was blown away by it. It was terrific. So both Phil and I, big fans of your work. I mean, you are seriously talented guys. And
what you do is very cool. You just earned yourself some tickets to our new tour. So well done there, Russ. And Phil, and you, Phil, and you.
Can I say, I do, yeah, I don't like being an afterthought. I thought you meant both of us in the first place. You didn't mean anyway. Can I just point out, that we do need to get I'm sorry, we can't not talk about this because it's been, I can't believe it's been 3 years already since we lost Timmy. Now, of course, Timmy was obviously in the original lineup of the band and very, very sadly was taken from us just over 3 years ago. And I was so relieved that you guys were prepared to carry on. Because although I think it's fair to say that it was always going to be very different after he left us, it was also very important to all of you, I know, to carry on the great work that you guys had all done to date.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was losing Timmy was something that absolutely rocked us to our core. It was, as you can imagine, we lost a dear friend and a brother and somebody who was extremely important in pretty much every aspect of our lives. So it was extremely difficult, and we've spoken a lot about the fact that we brought each other through that grieving process, I guess, together. We did it as a team, and we did it as brothers in arms, and that kind of process is still going to an extent. 3 years, it boggles my mind to think, when you just said, Phil, 3 years, it's just mental to me how it flies, that time flies, and but it's still very fresh to us. It still hurts to think about the loss of Timmy, and we often talk about him, and we often talk about the fact that I feel a bit low about it today. Then we'll have a little chat and everything else. But over and above that, it was really important. It felt really important to us to continue on, not just for the obvious reasons, for the fans, for our livelihoods, but also for the legacy of Timmy and what we as a five had built from the last 10 years.
I think being in the overtones, like, I think we only kind of came to realize in the last few years how much the band means to a lot of people, and that's not coming from an arrogant perspective. I mean, our job is to basically make people smile. Our music's feel good. That's what we do. And we get so many emails and DMs and letters saying, like, been having a hard time, or I lost a family member, and you've really cheered me up and made me smile, and you've made me realize there's a way out and there's more to life. And honestly, like, the band means a lot to a lot of people. So we thought about everything when we decided to carry on, and that was one of the main reasons, as Mike said, for Timmy's legacy. But we've got a job to do, and that's to make people feel good and give them a good night out and give them escape. So that's something we need to continue doing.
It's very important that you said that. You've touched on two really important things. One is the grieving process. I wrote an article a couple of months ago, and I said, I entitled it, "There's no statute of limitations on grief." Because I think people say, people who don't know say, "Oh, Mike, Darren, come on, get over it 3 years ago." Doesn't matter. It could be 3 days ago. And you will feel the up and down of, you have good days and you have bad days, and there's no rational reason why it happens. That's the first thing.
Oh, sorry, Russ.
No, and the second thing is, I really agree with you, because cynics say, "Oh, people just do it for the money. They should stop." Why should they stop? You give pleasure, and entertainers like you give pleasure to millions of people. And in a difficult and tough world, we need that. It's very important for people's mental health and view of life. And I totally endorse what you both said. Totally.
I mean, it's really interesting, Russ, that you said about the whole grieving thing and the fact that it never leaves you. And it's funny because we did a stream last week for men's mental health and in association with Men's Mental Health Forum. And one of the things that I kind of spoke about was the fact that I read an article that it basically spoke about grief and how people often say, I think the main kind of thought of grief is that you get over it. Time is a healer. That's that thing. But I kind of saw it as like grief is a small part in a circle of what is your life. And what happens is when something like a loss of a loved one or whatever happens, grief fills that space. Now that grief doesn't diminish. What happens is the space gets bigger. Your life continues on. And I just think that's a really nice kind of little metaphor and example of what that grief still means to us, and obviously for everybody else who experiences it.
How do you think that Jay fits in with all of this? Because obviously he joined after lost Timmy, and also let's not forget as well, since Lockie left as well. But but how has Jay found this? Because obviously the you three, as it were, I say you three, obviously I'm talking about Mike, Darren and Mark, of course, obviously sort of all I can't explain it. You've sort of been through things together that Jay hasn't necessarily experienced with you. And I just wonder sort of if it's ever awkward for him, or whether or not there's a conscious effort that sort of, to include, to make sure that he's sort of part of whatever process is as a band you go through now.
I think he really, really was and is the perfect fit. He's been a friend of the band since day one. Before the band kind of blew up, if you like, we was on a charity record with Jay, and that's when we first met him, and that's like 12 years ago. Obviously, we watched his journey through X Factor, and we stayed in touch as he watched our journey also, and he supported us at a few gigs. Our fans loved him, so there's always been a connection. And what you'll find with Jay when you meet him is this ball of energy, this ball of light, and he just makes you smile, and he's got this enthusiasm that's so infectious. So he really was a perfect fit. Now, it was important to have someone with a big personality after Lockie leaving the band. But we also wanted to go in a slightly different direction. Otherwise, it would just be a replica. So I feel like we've done a great job, and Jay has just fitted in seamlessly. He's not shy. He's not shy of confidence, and that's exactly what we needed. And we feel refreshed. We feel reinvigorated, and we've got a slightly different sound. We've got Jay's smooth vocals on the songs now. And if you come and watch us perform, I think you'll see there's this new energy about us, which is enjoyable.
It's really interesting you say that. I know this isn't about mental health, but I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch very little TV, and I've been watching recently lots of interviews and documentaries about Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, the co-founders of Kiss. So when Peter Criss left or was fired, and when Ace Frehley left or was fired, and they had to replace them, not quite the same embracing attitude that you guys have shown. It was also the same with Metallica when they had to replace the bass player and put in Robert Trujillo. So it is interesting how you can come out of it, I think, sometimes even better, as in Metallica, or it's not the same thing as with Kiss. So I think you've really got the best out of what was a difficult situation. You've really made the absolute best of it, and become even better in some ways.
Thank you.
I mean, look, as Darren said, it was important for us that when we brought Jay in, it was important for us to bring somebody in with the same mentality as the Overtones has always had. The Overtones has always stood for positivity, a good time. Carefree, forget your troubles. We don't try to be cooler than cool. When you see us perform on stage,
you just are, Mike. You just are.
I just wake up like it in the morning. But you come and see us on stage. It's a very honest performance. It's a very and hopefully you hear that in the music that we record. There's honesty there. We stand on stage and we do it not for the fame, not for the fortune, although it is our job. We do it because we love doing it, and we love making people happy, and we love seeing people's smiles on their faces. We love when they get up and they dance and they forget their troubles for an hour and a half a night when we're doing our shows. And although the Overtones have evolved into something slightly different, the mentality of the group has remained the same. And I think there's as Darren said, there is an evolution of the group. But if you were to come and watch the show or buy the album, I think you could still go, yeah, they're the Overtones. We're still very much a nostalgic group, singing songs from yesteryear, as well as our own penned music. And like I say, if you want a good night, come to an Overtones concert.
What's interesting is when you watch you perform, which I've done, obviously, you are clearly having a good time yourselves. Because how many times have you been to an artist and you think they're going through the motions here, they don't want to be here, they're taking the money, and this is just crap. But you guys are, you're full on energy. Let me read this. Sorry, Phil, it's an important thing.
Before we run out of time, I think we should have a quick listen to your song, Rose Tinted, if we may. Just before, let's have a quick block of that.
Go ahead. Oh yeah.
Well, it'd be rude not to, really, wouldn't it?
I've been driving to my yesterdays, living life in no particular way. Summer days, oh, they felt so sweet. Trouble troublemaker with no shoes on my feet, looking for something that's better than nothing. Looking through that rose-tinted rearview mirror.
No, it's just
Oh,
unmistakable.
we like that. We love that.
Absolutely
We
unmistakable.
love that. We love that retro feel of it. It's like 2021, and it's like out of the 60s as well. It's like there's like a hint of the. I don't know. It's a hint of the Brooke Benton.
That's what we went for. Otis
love
Redding
it.
inspired. Otis
That's
Redding
it. It was
inspired.
really Otis.
Yeah, we're
Really
really proud of
Otis.
this one. It's a little bit of a new sound and all to do with the new lineup, the new vision, if you like. So we're excited about it.
What are you doing to celebrate 10 years? In 10 years, please. It's technically a bit longer, isn't it? But even so, about roughly 10 years. What are you doing to celebrate the decade in the music world that you guys have got behind you?
Phil, what aren't we doing? Should be the question. If you want to rephrase it, I mean, new album 10. There's a deluxe version with some extra goodies on there. There's the tour in November, December. So we're just kind of throwing a big party. It was meant to happen last year. For obvious reasons, it didn't. So look, let me tell you, Mike's hips, ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen us perform, Mike's hips and lips have been locked up for a few years now. So you need to get a ticket just to see them hips be unleashed on stage, because it's going to be one hell of a party, and we just can't wait.
I love you guys. Shame commercial plugging. You're worse than I am, and I'm bad. Now Helen TT_MO is going absolutely potty here. I'm not sure who Helen TT_MO is, but she obviously adores you guys, or she's from your publicity department. It's one of the two. I don't know. I have no idea. It's your mum. No idea. Martin Allen says this, and this is really good. Yeah. Martin Allen says this: without entertainment that brings laughter and joy, we have nothing. An empty void. We live to be entertained, and the boys are on top there to make us feel good, and we're grateful for their strength to carry on. That's from Martin, and I think that echoes what a lot of people say. One of the things we've all noticed, and Phil and I've discussed this a lot on the show, how much you miss entertainment, how much you miss going out and seeing a band and just having that live experience,
yeah, absolutely. Obviously for us it's kind of twofold, really. We each love live entertainment, whether it's theatre, whether it's gigs, whether it's plays. We like many of us, we all love kind of getting out and enjoying some live entertainment, and on the flip side of that, we love to stand on stage and entertain. So we've kind of lost out doubly over the past kind of 18 months. And, touching on something you said a second ago, Russ, about the whole, you often see people that kind of stand on stage and go through the motions and everything else. Like, that's something, it's kind of almost like an unwritten, unsaid rule in the Overtones camp, because I think we all recognize that when somebody comes to one of our shows, whether it be a tour show or a private show or a public gig or whatever, we completely appreciate that they've put their hands in their pockets and they've bought a ticket. And it's not any small thing for us. Whether it's a £20 ticket or a £100 ticket, it's very much appreciated. And that's why, apart from the fact that we love it, it's one of the reasons why we give everything we've got to every single show we do, because who are we to take that moment away from that person who's used their hard-earned money to come and watch us?
Oh,
what
if I had that attitude in life, full stop.
What a refreshing. But I totally agree with you. People have taken the time and trouble to get a babysitter and travel or find somewhere to park, and they're going to have a drink beforehand or maybe a snack. This is not a small investment, if you like. And I love the fact that you say that, because there's some huge names out there where the ticket prices are through the roof, and they're really just emailing their performance in. And sometimes it is so lazy, and you think that is disrespectful to the people who have put you on that stage, because without them, you're nothing. You're nothing at all. If you don't have people, who are buying your stuff or watching your films, it's totally disrespectful. It's due to them and their support.
Now, gents, that you're very busy sort of chaps.
Yeah,
you know,
you are.
we already alluded to, Mike, that you are a father, that you've got to go and deal with, and Darren, that you apparently sort of are playing a dab hand at DIY at the moment. Who knew that? Well done. So with that in mind, final point, if anyone wants any more information about tour dates or anything like that, where do they need to go?
Go on, Mike.
Please head over to theovertones.tv. All the information for the tour is there. You can get your copy of the standard edition of our new album 10, the deluxe edition. There's loads of bundles there. Oh, and guys, we've even got, for a little bit of nostalgia, we've even got a cassette.
Get out.
Wow.
Get out.
Wow.
Honestly, it's so cool.
What, Mike? You haven't got an 8-track?
Well, do you know what? We were honestly, Russ, we
8-track.
were going to. The idea of getting some kind of vinyl was going to be amazing for us, and we really wanted it. But again, because of COVID, it just made the waiting time for it like crazy. So we couldn't delay the album any further. So we just
Mike, enough about the cassette. Talk about the tour as well and the album, mate.
So it's theovertones.tv, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
All
All
right.
the information's there.
All right,
Album
guys.
available to pre-order now and on tour November, December, and Phil and Russ, we expect to see you in the audience looking at Mike's hips.
Stop us.
A bit pervy, but we'll be there. All right. Listen, guys, thank you for finding the time.
Thank you.
Not to coin a phrase, as far as the new single is concerned, which is obviously rose tinted, might I say, loving the sound, if I may. Anyway,
I love that.
See what he did.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
you did there. Thank you very much, both indeed, gents. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Lots of love.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Oh, fabulous.
You have to explain that joke to me. The new single called Rose Tinted, I'm Loving the Sound. Did I mishear?
Of course, those who know the Overtones music will know that one of their best singles was Loving the Sound. As in loving the sound.
No, you don't have to kill it. I got it now.
Oh, how very kind of you to catch up. But anyway.
Shut up. Just shut up. Listen, before people say, "Ooh, what's so good?" I'm just going to cut this off at the pass, as I used to say in New York. We don't do music on the show, and because I am besieged by all sorts of PR companies, can you plug this record and plug? And I go, I'd be very happy to have your client on as a guest if it relates to mental health and well-being. If it does that, absolutely. But if it's just a pop record or something, anyone can do that. I don't want to do that. And Phil and I talk about this a lot, and it's not what we want to do.
But it is way beyond that with the Overtones. I know those guys have had really a very rough few years recently, and it is so. I mean, it's. I think that sort of loss comes in different forms. It was incredibly sad what happened with Timmy, and I still can't believe that we're talking about him in the past tense. But it was also when Lockie decided that he was going to go and pursue other avenues. You have to think that that's a sort of loss as well, because someone who you spend day in, day out with, may still physically be with us, but to not be a part of that group. It must have been very tricky, and we never even got to touch upon that. And that's before we even mentioned how ill Timmy was in the run up to when he died. So it was just a very, very rough time, and I'm really, really delighted that the guys are still.
We're pleased, and the whole thing about entertainment, it's not something I take lightly. That's why I kicked off the show talking about Ray Gelato and this ridiculous, huge amount of money they want for visas to do European tours. And Ray is one of thousands of examples of so many artists who need to go and tour, because that's how they make their livelihood, and that's how they entertain people. And entertainment, it's so important. It's one of the glues that has kept us together this last year and a half, without a doubt. Lovely to see some new names coming up. Anne-Marie de Boers. Can you pronounce this? I've screwed it up. Anne-Marie, I apologize immediately. Anne-Marie de Boers, Regts. There's no vowel there apart from me. How do I pronounce that? Rext?
A good question. One of which
I have no idea how to pronounce your name. I apologize profusely.
Instead, we'll just say Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Yeah, we'll just say Anne-Marie, but I didn't want to appear rude, And Helen TT _MO, the J team. Okay, lovely to have all your comments. Thanks for joining in and playing along, as they say. It is good. Entertainment just is such a comedy as well. There's certain people on YouTube who have absolutely, and I've not met them, most of them. I've never met them. I've never spoken to them. I don't know them, but they've really kept me entertained, and they've kept my spirits up. Andrew Lawrence would be one of them, a comedian. Look up his stuff; it's very clever. Johnny Weldon, again, someone I've never met. Genius little videos, genius. They're fantastically funny and hugely entertaining, and they're doing it. And I write to them always and thank them, and sometimes I support them on Patreon and stuff like that.
Now here's a question for you. Actually, when you write to thank somebody for their art, do you think that? How can I put this? I don't want to be horrible, but do you think that it's a little overfamiliar?
No, I don't, because I don't go, if it's somebody huge, you go, hi, mate, how are you? It's Russ. Obviously not, they're not going to be interested. But the people that I reach out to, and bizarrely struck up sort of quite nice, friendly, backwards and forwards messages and stuff, people I've never met, never spoken to. There's a guy, that, oddly enough, I might be sponsoring, out in Winnipeg, who's a drummer. And I just came across him on YouTube by pure chance, and I'm in deep conversation with him. He wouldn't think he has a manager, but it's the music business, and I'm just interested in doing some stuff, but not music related at all. And you have these nice kind of. I don't think it's over familiar. They don't have to reply. The door is open. If they want to come back, they will. If they don't, they don't. I do that because I want to know. For example, I saw a tweet the other day. Listen to this play. It's going to be finished soon. It was on BBC Sounds, which I was usually listening to when I'm walking Ebony. And I listened to the play. It was brilliant. And I found the name of the playwright. And I wrote to them and said, thank you very much. If I enjoy a book, I try and find the author. And I write to them, and they always reply. It's amazing. They always come back.
It is very much appreciated, because in the same way, when we get people who we don't necessarily know saying thank you to Men's Radio for what we do, which is immeasurably flattering.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't really matter whether or not if we know the person or not. It's just sheer gratitude goes a long way.
I do it with, if I see a particular film or something like that, I'll track down the actor or actress. Am I allowed to say that? Actor. Bollocks. It's an actor and actress. We know what we're talking about. And I will write to them, like, just odd films and people, and I'm amazed. I thought they'd never get. Even Vincent D'Onofrio from Law and Order Law and Order, that one, which is in a brilliant actor. And I wrote to him about something, and I couldn't believe he wrote back. I said, thank you very much. I did much appreciated. It's a huge start. But I think people need to be reminded that it's not going out just into the ether, that it means a lot. And to just give a little note of thanks. It's how I operate. I don't want anything from it. That's the point. I'm not crawling after them for anything. I just want them to know that I really appreciate it. Certainly authors. I always write to the author if I enjoy his book.
Paul Andrews raises a very valid point where he says people are really quick to insult entertainers for stuff. So I think it's quite nice to just write to them and say, love it, thank you, etc. I think you're spot on, Paul, because it's very
people, aren't they?
Sadly, it's very easy for people to hurl insults at one another, but it's probably less common for people to actually show appreciation. And Paul Endicott, in How on Earth Could We End on a Stronger Note to say, music is a great therapy for us all through this lockdown. I'll say that. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that it would have been as sane through all of this if it weren't for music.
It's a relative point, isn't it? I agree, though, Phil. I agree. Totally agree.
Well, no, I mean, I recognise that some people would argue heaven only knows what he'd be like if he didn't have music then. I would suggest that it has, from a personal perspective, it's been very therapeutic. We need to say thank you to our guests. I mean, my goodness me, what guests we've had. We've crammed 4 into 1 hour. That's got to be a record for us.
It is for us. It is.
Darren Milton and Zane Powell's MBE, thank you both very much indeed to them. The Overtones in the form of Mike Crawshaw and, of course, Daz Everest as well. I mean, seriously, just wow, what a program. Look at that.
We loved it. Proud of it.
Do it all over again on Friday, I think.
We'll see you Friday for our 3-hour spectacular. And maybe Phil will make some bread.
Don't bank on it, but I'll try. Have a good day. Bye.